Before we start, let's have a moment's silence for Tamara and the loss she's going through, a loss most of us will never experience. That's enough.
This is the MikeDJKelly Podcast. This is the Mike Kelly Podcast.
Mike Kelly.
So here it is. Ho, ho, ho. Here we go. It's time for issue number 22 of the all-new, improved, bigger and better, shorter than shabby, short Mike DJ Kelly podcast show, which we insist you should tell your friends about. Let's start with the Christmas song title quiz, where I give you a group of artists and you name the song to come up with some sort of seasonal Christmas statement. Off we go. Chris Rea, Whitney Houston, Slade, Elton John, Andy Williams, Dean Martin, Alma Cogan, Mariah Carey, Paul McCartney and ABBA. Have you worked it out yet? Are we allowed to use that line? Have you worked it out yet? Well, here it is. Driving home for Christmas. Do you hear what I hear? Merry Christmas, everybody. Step into Christmas. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Let it snow. Never do a tango with an Eskimo. All I want for Christmas is you, the listener. Wonderful Christmas time. Happy New Year. It must be Christmas, passing the Methodist Church in Headingley on Sunday, and there were 3 kings followed by 2 real donkeys and some angels making their way into the church. Very Christmassy. Look at the other side of the road and it's KFC and Costa, a world apart.
On this week's podcast.
So off we go, all revved up. It's a green light for go as we head off on another action-packed audio adventure in the end of the year special Christmas show poddy.
On this week's podcast.
Coming up, competitions, radio, and which radio station has a weather forecaster who sounds like they've had a large intake of helium before their broadcast. TV, smelly sheep, edible avocado skins, Dr. Crazy, Gaviscon, armed police, and a whole lot more.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly Podcast.
Yes, I know I'm sounding a little chesty, and that's after I've taken a little industrial strength medicine. For previous listeners, Memwith Hill. It's all over now, and we can talk politics again. Well, you can. I'm not allowed to because of my job. But in the run-up to the election, DJs are not allowed to make funny comments about political things unless they mention all parties at the same time. I was wondering about the music you hear on the radio. Now, if I play ABBA, Dancing Queen, what evil image does it conjure up? Or if I play Dream, things can only get better. But then it took an even bigger turn for the worse, and films like Love Actually got involved, and even worse than that, I find the wife's side of the family vote for the exact opposite to what I vote for. Had a bad TV moment watching Jonathan Ross when guest number 1, Jeremy Clarkson, acted the buffoon and said he was carbon neutral because he'd bought a farm and planted 7,000 trees. I felt the same as when I saw Chris Tarrant on James Martin's Saturday Kitchen, sort of a deep down sick feeling. Maybe it's a who wants to be a millionaire thing. Said it now. So now you know.
This is the Mike Kelly Podcast.
On environmental stuff, I've mentioned the modernmilkman.co.uk before, who delivers milk in glass bottles. I won't be mentioning them again since Boris has been in their fridges. But hey, this is what I was thinking. How many years is it since daily milk deliveries to our homes vanished from the streets? If you think about it, in the 1950s, 60s, 70s and 80s, we were having milk delivered in glass bottles to our home and delivered on electric-powered milk floats. How perfect. Who changed us over to the new model of buying it in plastic bottles in the supermarket? It wasn't me. It wasn't you. It was those big businesses.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly Podcast.
If you want to get in touch about anything to do with the Shorter Than Short podcast show, please use either of the following to contact us, or if you want to send your own stories for the next episode, email cuttings or sound clips to email hello@MikeDJKelly.co.uk or on Twitter @MikeKellyDisco. If you want to be alerted to future podcasts, get your people to talk to my people and we'll sort something out. No, seriously, give a wave to Mike DJ Kelly Podcast on Messenger and we'll be back in touch.
Golly gosh.
Competition time. With the middle name Sebastian, he was born on the 6th of January 1955. He is an English actor, comedian and screenwriter. He's been listed in The Observer as one of the 50 funniest actors in British comedy. He is most famous for his work on the satirical sketch comedy show Not the 9 O'Clock News and the sitcoms Blackadder and playing a bumbling vicar in 4 Weddings and a Funeral, and playing jewellery salesman Rufus in Love Actually with Boris Johnson. Who is he? Knackered and bumpy roads mean only one thing. I keep needing to get my lights fixed on the Bilingo, but all the garages want me to book it in for a number of hours to resolve the problem. In the old days, you just went to the back of the light fitting and put a new bulb in. But it's not so easy these days, my friends. Sealed units, funny screws, and unusual ways of removing the fitting. To the rescue, my hero, Dr. Crazy. Search on YouTube, change a Bilingo light bulb or some other car-related issue, and he pops up. Very good. In fact, pretty amazing. So my message is to garages, get stuffed. I do think there is a need for some simple way to get a car headlight or brake light replaced at some sort of drop-in place or pop-up in the supermarket car park. Still moaning on about cars? Are you old enough to remember when garages used to sell petrol, diesel, paraffin and car-related stuff and change light bulbs, check the oil and put the fuel in? Sometimes, if you were lucky, you might have been able to get an ice cream or a newspaper. At some point, somebody discovered a bylaw that allowed you to build a supermarket where the garage till used to be.
This is the Short of the Short, Mike Kelly Podcast.
You must have seen Tim and Tom, the twins with the digestive issues, in the Gaviscon double action advert. I just feel they've been having this problem for far too long now, and it's time they went to a proper doctor to get this sorted. Talking of doctors, Doc Martens shoes have been taken over and they now outsource their shoemaking, which has led to a massive increase in returns and complaints about the quality of the products. And as with Tim and Tom and their digestive issues, in New Zealand, they're now working on a genetic low methane emitting sheep. Excellent idea. I have some human friends who could benefit from this.
This is the Mike Kelly Podcast.
We need a heading for this, something like How the Bastards Keep Trying to Rip Us Off. Yes, that'll do nicely. Here's the latest wheeze from BP and Shell. If you go to a Shell garage and take over 20 minutes to do your business, you'll be sent a £100 fine. So filling with fuel, inflating the tyres, buying something in the shop and getting a coffee could become a whole lot more expensive. At BP, you're allowed 30 minutes before the £100 fine is posted to you. Maybe supermarkets will follow this and start charging to park while you shop. Please do get in touch about anything to do with the podcast show. Please use either of the following to contact us, especially if you want to send stories or sound bites to us. Email hello@MikeDJKelly.co.uk or on Twitter @MikeKellyDisco. If you want to be alerted to future podcasts, give a wave to Mike DJ Kelly Podcast on Messenger. We could do a good and a bad feature. Bad, the length of the queue in the post office to send 2 cards abroad, or the last Uber cab I took. What a nice driver and clean car. My wife is still forcing me to endure Emmerdale, but what I do not get is the Woolpack pub. Every time they have a pub shot scene, there's an argument or people shouting at each other. In the real world, when you go to a pub like this, it never looks full, it never looks warm and cosy, and the sort of place you'd like to go to. And talking of Yorkshire-based things, the Yorkshire Bank online service went down. First time I've experienced this, and it does make you aware of how vulnerable we all are. What if after it came back online it said you had no money in your account? How would you prove you did? Bit like me trying to prove I had PPI with egg after the company's website had long gone. I suspect the outage was due to the integrating of parts of it with Virgin Bank. My texts now have the words Virgin in them. When it comes to being a fully Virgin Bank, I will be leaving. It's a bit like supporting the Labour Party and suddenly finding your payments are going to the Conservatives.
This is the Short of the Short, Mike Kelly Podcast.
It's Guess the Song time. What song are these lines from? Oh, here we are, and here we are, and here we go. All aboard, and we're hitting the road. Here we go. Those are the lyrics. Guess the song, or who it's by. Oh, here we are, and here we are, and here we go. All aboard, we're hitting the road, here we go. Being as it's Christmas, and I like candles, I saw some pretty large wax-coated, battery-powered ones in my supermarket of choice. I love them. They look real. You blow them out. Bit weird, mind you, putting batteries in candles, though. Still, my favourite Christmas ad is the Marks and Sparks jumper advert, where everyone is moving around to House of Pain's Jump, Jump, Jump Around, but the advert seems to be evolving, different people doing different dances to the same song.
Golly gosh.
Today's do-gooders are Centrepoint at centrepoint.org.uk. What is Centrepoint? Centrepoint is not a 9 to 5. We run services 7 days a week, every week of the year, even Christmas Day. Our staff are dedicated to making sure we can help every young person that comes through our door, from support workers to fundraising to finance and our board. The choices on the website are for £10 more than a Christmas dinner, £50 more than a Christmas hamper, £144 sponsor a room. Under this option it says sponsoring a room at Centrepoint can get a homeless young person off the streets for good. Your gift will not only pay for a warm, safe room for up to a year, but it will also go towards providing vital support they may have never been given before. Find out more at centrepoint.org.uk. Young people sleeping rough is a shocking and increasingly visible problem, but that problem isn't going away. In fact, it's getting worse. Our research, this is Centrepoint, shows 103,000 young people approached their local councils because they were homeless or at risk of homelessness in 2017-18.
This is the Mike Kelly Podcast.
I saw a Peloton van outside Greggs. That's Peloton, Peloton, outside Greggs, and the two occupants were enjoying a Greggs breakfast in the car park. I thought, I know the name Peloton, and I did. It's the company that has a woman frantically riding a bike in her own home. Articles about Peloton say it costs just under $2,000 to get one of these stationary bikes and a computer that will allow you to link up with other cyclists in their own homes. Nitwits. Well, it will if you pay the £40 a month membership. Mind you, if you don't eat Greggy products in the first place, just saying.
This is the Short of the Short, Mike Kelly Podcast.
Talking of food, have you heard about the new avocados that will be going on sale shortly in Germany with a new plant-based edible skin that will allow them to stay fresh for twice as long? Made one of my special pasta-free lasagnas that normally lasts for 2 days, but when I got up the day after making it, the dog was not to be seen. Normally he's harassing me to take him on his walk, but not in sight this day. Then I find him cowering in the conservatory where he's devoured the whole bloody thing. Final word on food. My son is a chef in a fairly famous local pizza restaurant. They had a telephone order for 2 20-inch pizzas and were quite dismayed, as was the rest of the restaurant, when 2 armed police arrived to pick them up. My mate Jerry in Spain mentioned me in this year's round robin. I now return the favour, Jerry, and say Happy Christmas to you and all our listeners to the poddy.
This is the Mike Kelly Podcast.
Can we take a bit more on the climate? Yes, we can. Nice to see Wilkinson's is introducing brown paper carrier bags. We'll be able to carry our glass bottle homes in them, just like Mum used to. But seriously, the worry about the use of plastics, is it really down to you and me? Or is it big businesses making products wrapped in plastic or disposable household goods made out of plastic? So we want to reduce our plastic use. It's very hard for us as individuals. If the government set down some rules about plastics in goods, products, shops, etc., it would give us a choice, possibly, of some without a plastic coating. Try doing a weekly shop without buying anything in plastic. It's impossible. Introducing a plastic carrier bag tax does not help, as you're still buying all the plastic coated products. Something that's been worrying me is, if I want to do good things for the environment, should I use an electric toothbrush or a manual do-it-yourself one? Not sure what's been happening on my BBC local radio station, but one Saturday at 8:45 p.m, some sort of Radio 1 and 6 music pre-record was on, and on another day before the election, an all England election special. Where has the local element gone? The same station was doing a feature on Christmas entertainment and had one of the Hyde Park Cinema staff on. They introduced the person as from the Hyde Park Cinema at Headingley. No, it's not. The name suggests it's in bloody Hyde Park, the one in Leeds, not London. If you want to get in touch with this top-rated, much-listened-to podcast, please contact by email hello@MikeDJKelly.co.uk or on Twitter @MikeKellyDisco. Indeed, if you want a podcast making for your business or need any help with radio producer or presentation work, please get in touch. You can always get the Mike DJ Kelly podcast by going to iTunes or Spotify and searching Mike DJ Kelly. Or you could send a text to your friends and warn them about the Shorter Than Short podcast.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly Podcast.
Okay, time to go. Guess the celebrity with the middle name Sebastian. He was born on the 6th of January 1955. He is an English actor, comedian and screenwriter. He's been listed in The Observer as one of the 50th funniest actors in British comedy. He is most famous for his work on the satirical sketch show Not the 9 O'Clock News and the sitcoms Blackadder, and playing a bumbling vicar in 4 Weddings and a Funeral, and playing jewellery salesman Rufus in Love Actually. Who is he? Yes, Johnny English, Rowan Sebastian Atkinson. So what was the song that contained this line? Oh, here we are, and here we are, and here we go. All aboard, we're hitting the road. Here we go. Guess the song? It was Status Quo's Rocking All Over the World. That's all we have time for in this edition of the crazy, shorter than short, shabby podcast show. From me, Mike Kelly, thank you for listening. And remember, you can always find the podcast by searching or shouting Mike DJ Kelly Podcast. Have a great Christmas and all the best for 2020.
This is the Mike Kelly Podcast.
Mike Kelly.